It is 10:35 in the morning, somewhere in the world, which means it's time for Shakespeare's Coffee Break. I'm your friendly neighborhood Shakespeare. I am on my coffee break. We have my co-host, the amazing, the talented, the delightful May Hemmer here today. Oh, that's a fancy mug. And we also have special guest Dan Wentzel in the house. He is sitting in the official game room of Shakespeare's Coffee Break. So we're having a fantastic time. My apologies, as always, for my internet. As you know, dear constant viewers, it's never good here at my house. And today it seems to be slower than ever. And we even reset it about 20 minutes before the show started. So that's great. But that being said, we're going to have a wonderful time. Reminder, support the show by supporting our sponsors, the Shakespeare Yogi. You can use code SHAKESDoctorProof to save 50% off your first private class. Friends of the Colorado Northwestern Field Museum, what will you discover this summer? And the Renaissance Stream Guide, your TV guide of online Renaissance Festival entertainment. But now, let's start the show. We have everyone here. Oh my goodness gracious. We have ones of viewers watching right now as we speak. Which means this is the most popular show in existence. I always look at the numbers when we're live and I'm like, oh, no one watches. And then a day or two later, the numbers are up to like something respectable. I'm like, oh, okay. The fun thing is, oh, Sally's here. Hooray! Hello, Sally. And she says, hello, May and Dan. Good morrow. And it was very good to see you on Saturday at Smithville Renaissance. Yeah, I had my very first in-person Renaissance Festival. I was so excited to start booming and announcing things at the very start of the day that Dan, someone who's worked with me going into the way back, A, I can boom, but B, instead of projecting, I just started shouting and immediately started frying the chords, like immediately. But also the allergens in New Jersey, for me and several other people, were ridiculous this weekend. And
Wait a minute.
I started losing my voice in the first 5 minutes of the show. And no matter how badly I'm frying my chords, that doesn't happen.
No.
Let's backtrack to allergies in New Jersey. I moved up here with the understanding that I would avoid drama, but it seems I moved up here and the North is trying to kill me.
It's just different drama. It's just different.
I'm like, I moved away from hurricanes trying to kill me to allergies that's trying to kill me. And I don't know what's worse.
And depending on how far north you go, you get blizzards.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that. I got my first nor'easter when I went somewhere, and when I went to Boston one year, and my husband tried to warn me because that's where he's from, and I was like, "It's already February. Like that should have happened by now." He goes, "Okay." Literally,
dear sweet summer child.
Landed, nor'easter hit. I went, "Oh, so we just gotta." All right, so I was stuck there for a week. It was great.
My one and only time in Chicago, I was supposed to be there for 2 days for a gig with my old job, and I ended up being there for a week because of a blizzard with the lake effect snow coming in right off of the lake.
The worst.
and it's a great lake
because of Chicago.
Yeah, it was just and you're here.
My first taste of Chicago was I was with my ex and he flew me up for New Year's Eve. And that was mistake one. Well, mistake one was being engaged to him. Mistake two was going to Chicago. And
I'm so sorry. Excuse me. This tea is so very hot right now.
My tea is scalding. But I got there and I was like, oh my God. What's the temperature? I mean, I'm from New Orleans. So like cold to me is anything like between 40 maybe and 70. When it gets below 70 degrees, I get upset. I don't have real coats. I mean, at that time, I didn't have real jackets. So I get up there, and it's just like snow everywhere, like everywhere. And then he had the nerve to say, "We're going to go to the Winter Festival on the pier." It felt like I was getting backhand by ice, like every 5 seconds, like just getting repeatedly pimp slapped by the wind. I was like, "You choose to live here? Like you chose this."
On that, my wife and I, off-screen wife, the amazing, talented, the brilliant, off-screen wife, we are really into Hallmark Christmas time movies, and one of them took place at the Ice Palace in Quebec. It's this amazing hotel that every year they rebuild out of ice and snow, and it's amazing and gorgeous and beautiful. And holy smokes! So we're like, "Oh, that looks so beautiful," and I said, "Do you want to go?" And then this movie is basically a walking advertisement for the Ice Palace. Oh yes, we keep it at 27 degrees in here at all times in order to, keep it, secure. And
no.
And then there's blankets and furs and brazier fires everywhere.
I just want to, once again, why would you choose this? Like,
why would I choose this? Because it looks amazing, and there's a snow slide you can go down.
Okay, so hear me out. You know what? I won't say that on the show. I don't know Dan like that. I know you like that. I don't know Dan like that, so I'm not gonna say that. But
he is a very kind person. That is a very kind person.
And I don't want to ruin this friendship before it starts. But you know what? I'm just going. No, I won't say it. I'm just going to say, you won't catch my family doing some shenanigans like that. Because I'm not that. Why would you choose that?
May, I have to ask. Were you about to say something akin to that's some crazy white people stuff?
I would say I live in central Pennsylvania, and we are kind of in, at least my perception of things growing up is that we're kind of in the center away from the worst of disasters. So we have an occasional tornado, but it's very occasional. We've had earthquakes, but it's like a 2 on the Richter scale. We've had like foot or 18 inches of snow, but that's central Pennsylvania. Go up to Erie, Pennsylvania, and people don't care so much about that. So that's one thing I will say for Pennsylvania, even though we can go through 4 seasons in 4 hours.
Yes.
It is at least in the middle of everything. So
that's all I wanted. That's all I need. That's all I want. Like when we moved and my husband got his dream job, like I thought I was going to be escaping the heat, the humidity, the hurricanes,
in that case,
the heat.
In that case, May, where you need to move is San Diego, California, for the following reason.
There's earthquakes. I'll pass.
There's earthquakes, yes. However, I mean, everybody's got something. It's a high 72. It's like Pleasantville. It's high 72, low 72, not a cloud in the sky.
I'm here for that.
Let's be fair. Nature is trying to kill you no matter where you live.
I mean, I just like to see what's coming to kill me. Like hurricanes, you get about a week's warning. So that's why I stayed there as long as I did. Earthquakes, surprise, and tornadoes are like, oops, we here. Being from Louisiana, hurricanes don't bother me. It's the heat that got to me finally. Here it's other issues.
May I recommend in that case Maryland or Pennsylvania, because they get hot, but not as hot. They get humid, but usually not as humid. They get snow, but not usually ridiculous amounts of snow. So it's like, basically, you're getting the so-so version of everything.
I can tolerate that.
It's a chocolate sample.
I see. I can take that. I can tolerate that.
Well,
I can. Yeah.
So not talking about the weather and allergies and all of that. We are taking the first 11 minutes of the show to do that. That's fine. That's fine. Right. Let's do this. Dan Wentzel, guys, gals, non-binary gingerbread pals, lords, ladies, gentles, all, and everyone who did not either could not or did not buy a cushion. Dan Wentzel is an author, a director, an actor, and he has done some of the best Shakespearean writing since the days of Shakespeare. And that includes Ian Desher. Yes, I'm talking to you, Mr. William Shakespeare's Star Wars, stealing my intellectual property before I knew I wrote it. And stealing my name. Anyway, we're here today to talk about look.
Wait, is that the Muppets? Oh my God, stop it.
Muppet Star Wars? Oh.
So
back before they were joined legally.
No, like absolutely. I got this on my honeymoon with my wife.
Way before they were joined legally.
Yeah. But anyway,
no. So Dan has adapted characters from Shakespeare into wholly original pieces, such as Six Lovers in Florence, which is a wonderful book. You can play, I should say. You can get on Amazon. You can get it as a digital download for your Kindle device or app, or you can just get the book. I have both. Mm-hmm. And other things he does is the Seat of Our Players podcast, with episodes concerning Detective Danger and the Amazons. I'm cutting Dan's face off here, so I'm just going to do that. Like Dan had no face. Detective Danger and the Amazons, and I'm going to throw these links into the comments as well. But episode titles, he sent me a list, so I'm going to bring them up here. Such as The 10 Pests, Corey's All Heinous, A Midsummer Fight Theme, 12th Fight or What You Kill, and then Two Gentlemen of Urbantown. So just fantastic punny mixing name titles. But also, I thought the first rule of the Midsummer Fights theme was we don't talk about Midsummer Fights theme.
Well, that actually, the way that episode runs in, that makes a great deal of sense, because that's the basis behind Detective Danger and the Amazon is that I take two superheroes, Detective Danger, who is the master of illusion, and the Amazon, who is an 8-foot tall female warrior of ancient power and indestructible, with a giant mace, and I throw them very, very loosely into Shakespearean plays. And in Midsummer's Fight theme, the Amazon's secret identity is absolutely at risk. So there is a lot of, no, we're not going to talk about that. We are really not going to talk about
that. Oh my goodness. That sounds fun. I then, while we were saying that, as soon as I said we don't talk about, the better joke I thought of was the first rule of Shakespearean Fight Club is we don't write about Shakespearean Fight Club.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, but too late. It's gone.
Directions just say they fight, and move on.
It could be, and that is a brilliant thing. So we're talking about adaptation and character coming in. So that is one of my favorite things with Shakespeare, in as much as adaptations can do anything. They fight. All right, do they do this? Do they stop punching each other? Do you play ballroom blitz in the background? Do you get out lightsabers? Do you use traditional swords? Do you go samurai? I mean, like, the possibilities are literally endless.
I've had an idea of producing Romeo and Juliet, directing it, and I would need a big budget for it, but just doing it as a whole concept of from start to finish, the history of man. So the initial bite your thumb at us scenes, they're all, caveman dressed in and fighting with clubs and such. And when you get to Romeo and Tybalt and Mercutio, Tybalt and Mercutio are fighting with rapiers and such, and because we've gotten to that point in history. But after Tybalt stabs Mercutio, then Romeo is standing there, and someone just hands him the first flintlock pistol, and that's how he. So and yeah, you're absolutely right. Like Dan, I'm gonna Master Shakespeare. I'm gonna take you back to your alter ego, Dan.
Oh, all right. Hold on. Let me get in character.
Right.
Lols.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
I'm an American.
I'm American.
So, do you remember performing in Merry Wives of Windsor?
Your Merry Wives of Windsor. Your Merry Wives of Windsor.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I'm very not British. No,
right.
Yes. Not in that show. I was Dr. Caius, yeah.
And Dr. Caius, and I don't remember what the Welshman's name is, but they're
the Reverend.
The Reverend, yes. Regardless, but those two characters had to fight, and it was a little squabble, nothing, but I just absolutely loved the fact that it was like, well, they would be using improvised weapons, so you were coming in with this odd tire iron, and the actor opposing you came in with a very shoddy. I don't think it was even an official baseball bat. I think it was like a t-ball bat, because I don't have a baseball bat. Have you seen me around anything related sports? So yes, with Shakespeare, especially as a director, you can literally do anything.
Yeah.
And it has been done. It has been done. The idea of hey, let's set Hamlet on the moon. Yeah. Sure. Let's. I love, like, on occasion when I watch this show, you'll see me pop in with ideas. Like I still want to kind of do a 12th Night where the Lear, like, Viola is an elf from Santa's workshop, which is why it's 12th Night, and she lands in Halloween Town. That's.
I'm here for it.
Oh,
I'm here for it.
All right. So, all right. Let's. Oh, okay. So basically, then Duke Orsino could be Jack Skellington,
more or less. Yes.
More or less. I mean, a non-copyright infringing Jack Skellington.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Olivia. Well, the only other major female character in the only major female character in Nightmare Before Christmas is Sally. So Olivia could be Sally.
She could be. You could actually just bring in just the concept of Halloween in general. So you could also do like Herman Munster and
Lily.
Morticia Addams.
Oh yeah.
Morticia Addams would be such a great look for Olivia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Oh, so glamorous too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Although it does leave the question of why are you wearing black just being confusing.
It's like, why?
Why not? Duh.
Yeah,
why aren't you wearing black? Like that's how you counter that.
And again, coming from Santa's workshop, she wouldn't be. So everyone else would be in these and although it does not take that much to go from the striped tights and such to making that very creepy very quickly.
Yeah.
Very much so. And she's attempting to blend in, and then the same thing would happen with Sebastian when he would arrive.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be so much fun. Oh, I like that.
When I directed 12th Night for real, the idea behind it was this only works for people who are from Philadelphia area. We'll get all the references I'm about to make here. But I had everyone from Duke Orsino's court was fans of the Philadelphia Eagles. Everyone from Olivia's court was fans of the Philadelphia Phillies. And Sebastian and Viola were just regular dressed. Actually, no, I think I put them in Temple clothing. But then Antonio, who is the outlaw who comes to town, was dressed in a Dallas Cowboys t-shirt, which he had to keep hidden all the time.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But and the great thing with that is you can take that specific concept right there, drop it down in any major sports area.
Yep.
And have the villain virtually always be the Dallas Cowboys.
There is.
I mean, yes.
And all the New York Yankees, because they have become the Dallas Cowboys of baseball.
I hate Cowboy. I mean, yeah.
I should also point out that I am so neutral on sports that was actually the most challenging part of it. Like for me, because I know nothing about them. I do not follow sports. I've only recently in my life gotten to the point where I'm not that guy who's like, I don't like sports about, anytime the topic even comes up. I've grown as a person.
I just personally glass over. I'm just like,
The only sport I truly care about is the only football that matters, which is soccer.
Amen. Who's your team? Who's your team? Who's your team?
Duh.
Oh, you're going with national teams here. I thought like we were just.
No, I don't talk about them. No, I mean national. Like I'm talking FIFA. I'm talking. I almost went to the.
All right, if we're talking FIFA for a moment, I have to get up on a soapbox, and for once in my life, maybe the only time I'm ever going to do this, US women's team, the single best. Single best team ever in existence, and they're perennially going, oh no, they're not going to do anything. It's
no.
Have you paid attention the last 20 years?
Women's soccer, I will give
every
USA.
time you say that, every time you say the S word, an English person dies.
Well, we have American people watching. They might get confused. Okay, I'm sorry.
You know what? Netflix is a thing. They can learn.
Anyway, the women's teams, though, I will say USA.
Okay.
However, men's teams, Brazil all the way. So sorry. I'm sorry. I am a traitor. It's fine. My whole my dad's Puerto Rican, and we always with Brazil.
That's fine. That's fine. But what about Scotland? What about the Australian national team? The New Zealand national team comes out and does the freaking haka before every match.
I said what I said.
But what you said was wrong.
Just so I'm caught up, this is the game where you do the kicking, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, look behind me at my national sport.
It's like this is a kicking game, right?
None of the games back here have anything to do with any of the professional sports. There are a myriad of board games that are all about, I've got a baseball team and I've got a football team or whatever it would be. None of them is back here. And none of them.
I see that munchkin though. I see that munchkin though, bro. I see it. I see it.
Typically, there's Shakespeare Munchkin back here.
I love that game so much.
It made me laugh.
My wife, so we got Munchkin Shakespeare as a gift. Someone sent it to me because almost all of the Shakespeare stuff that you see, and there's so much more, has been gifted to me. I have purchased exceedingly little of it over time. People are like, hey, here. I'm like, thank you very much. People assume that is my only interest in life.
Has anyone gifted you this shirt?
No. What I love the Shakespeare with the red nose. Right. What is that?
So there's going to be a squeak because I'm on tile, but so there's.
What was a squeak? Comedy.
Yes,
comedy.
And wait for it.
Uh-oh.
Is it visible?
Oh my God! Oh, it's fantastic!
Oh, I love that.
That is fantastic.
That one. I got that years ago for a birthday present from. Those of you who know me from Renaissance fairs know that I used to be part of the Mad Mechanicals back when there were Mad Mechanicals, and we were a Shakespeare parody team. So I think the other two members of the Mad Mechanicals, who are not my wife, are the ones who gave this to me as a present. So
that makes sense. That tracks.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Oh goodness, I have to say though, you referred to the Mechanicals as a team, and that made me think. And that made me think comedy sports. So you you've done some.
So for what it's worth, when it comes to comedy and sports, one of the other Seat of Our Pants Players podcast shows that it's a running show that we do is KGDY, which is a city populated by superheroes, and KGDY is the radio station that runs in there. And I ran in a dear friend of mine, Rebecca Scheimer, who I met doing Much Ado About Nothing. I conscripted her into being part of the podcast. She has a running show. Oh my gosh, this looks terrible. But she has a running bit as the sports reporter in Metrodelphia, this made-up town. And the running gag is that none of the sports go off well. She just like the baseball team is about to have their season ending game. Yes, game. Have their season ending game, and then a giant robot walks through it, as she's standing there reporting from it. So it's just. That is my humor. I introduced sports as a thing and then immediately destroyed it so that it could never actually happen or be successful.
To me, as a nerd, as a big nerd, I think it makes sense that if you have a town full of superheroes, nothing's gonna go right because there's always some arch nemesis that's gonna ruin everything. So why not the local sports, the school picnics, the PTA fundraisers, like?
Oh my goodness. So I would say you're not quite as sports ignorant as you might think, but also, I mean, because at some point, it being the perennial occupation, I mean, or I should say avocation of at least a large plurality of our society, like, you get it by osmosis. So. Yeah. And to your thing, to your earlier statement of you're the non-sports person that no longer says I don't do sports at the when the subject comes up, and good on you. In my aging into the Middle Ages, because I'm in my 40s now. May shut your face, you sweet summer child. I find that like the meme of the shh, just let people enjoy things. I swear that could be applied to virtually everything. But also, sports people don't want to admit it. But if you're a ridiculous sports person, and I keep saying sports like I'm an American, which I'm obviously not. No, it's sport. No, if you're huge into your team or a league or anything, and you know all the stats or you know everything about it, you're a bit of a nerd. It's just
still a nerd.
Yeah, you've latched onto the nerdiness that a huge portion of our society says that's the one that you're allowed to demonstrate and show fealty for. It's kind of fun in the last 20 years of seeing everything else just take its place right alongside that without judgment anymore. Of saying, like I was wearing a jersey that it says the Green Dragon, so it's Lord of the Rings based.
Yeah,
and someone said nerd, and I was amazed they actually said it aloud. But I'm like, your point being. And there was no comeback. It was just, I need to say something to make you feel smaller in some way, but they're using a word that is not offensive to me because
Yeah,
nerds very much took it since the 1990s. We very much have taken it. But
I mean, I think it's funny because like you said, sports stuff is very much their own nerd thing. And my favorite thing is people are like, oh, because I, used to be a LARPer when I had time. And, I ran around, did Boffa LARP, did, foam weapon LARP or whatever. And someone's like, oh my God, that's so nerdy. I was like, says the dude that watches a whole bunch of other dudes squat in tight pants chasing a piece of pigskin around. But what I do is nerdy.
I've come to accept that there are a lot of things, even amongst the so-called nerd culture, that are just not for me. I don't get into anime.
Yeah.
Shame! No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't get into anime. There's always, The Walking Dead just went no. And so there's always going to be, first off, we live in a society where it is impossible to ingest all of the media. It is literally impossible. TV critics have a very difficult job right now because you literally can't watch it all.
No.
And because of that, maybe I guess we'll sort of bring back, it is kind of fascinating that we're still getting Shakespeare adaptations when there's all that other content. It's just, it's fascinating. And I full props, Mr. Shakespeare, for writing things that, 400 years later, good on you.
Well, I think it's just because so many of them have a universality of theme that, I mean, and we're not seeing adaptations on a regular basis of like Troilus and Cressida, or Coriolanus, although there was a relatively recent Coriolanus.
Well, Coriolanus specifically, if you just look at the plot, it's actually kind of understandable. You've got a guy who goes off, is this massive war hero, comes back and says, now I want to go into politics. And people are like, no, you were a great war hero, but you're just obnoxious and disliked, and we don't want to deal with you. And then he says, well, fine, I'll go get the army I just beat, and I'm going to come back here. That is an understandable plot. Absolutely.
The problem with that play is that it's largely terrible.
Oh, you are not wrong. One of that was the one Detective Danger in the Amazon that I adapted. The only tragedy in that list is Coriolanus, where we did that. Corey's all heinous.
I wasn't even listening when I read it off.
Yeah, but in that one, the Volsian army is actually. I just said, I'm doing a superhero show, so the Volsians are aliens. And moving on.
That makes sense.
Wow.
And there are certain, and I think every Shakespearean play is rife for adaptation, especially if, let's say, it may have been well thought of in its time, but like, it's interminable now, Coriolanus. Or it's a good story, and maybe there's some good speeches or character moments, but otherwise it's like, this is terrible. Take the original plot, and then discard the rest. I mean, a great version of I think one of the greatest adaptations that we have seen of anything is 10 Things I Hate About You. It is one of the single best adaptations of any Shakespeare work. They take the original plot, use none of the dialogue. Not all of the character names are either carryovers or direct adaptations of the original into modern. And then you set it in a high school, and all of the ridiculous drama of that play immediately makes sense because, you're dealing with teenagers and the heightened hormones and end of the world thinking that always happens with that.
I will say that when it comes to adapting Shakespeare, setting it either in a military situation or a high school situation is, and nothing. This is going to sound pejorative, but I don't mean it to be. It is kind of easy mode, and the reason for that is that the strata of class is much more pronounced when you're setting something in a high school. We all know the concept of high school cliques. And since so many of Shakespeare's works are based on class differences, or this person is more important than this person, and if that is not the case, this whole plot falls apart. That's why a lot of those do end up getting set as high school shows, because if nothing else, in high schools, who are your friends, who are the people you are spending time with, is more or less dictated to you. It's like, you are in this class, therefore you're spending time with these people. And we sort of understand that, as opposed to, when you're an adult, there's nothing wrong with a 26-year-old and a 47-year-old hanging out and being friends. In high school, freshman hanging out with a senior is even like, that's weird. So
So my wife and I, age-wise, she when I was a senior, she would have been either an 8th grader or a 9th grader. It's just like, because of where's the birthday cutoff? It's like, because she's late August, so it's like, oh, you could have been a freshman, you could have just been an older 8th grader or a young freshman, either way. And there were a handful of people I knew who dated that far down the register, and we're like, are you okay? Like, you know they're a child. And meanwhile, also, fun fact, kids, you are also a legal child. It's just like, it's just like,
I mean, it's real funny, because like, I met my husband when I was 7, just freshly 18, had just started college, and he was like 23, 24 or something. We're 5 years apart. And when we met, he was like,
I was very hesitant of dating my wife, because I was 24 and she was 20, and I'm like, I can't do that now.
He was just like, oh my god, like, I know you're a baby, blah blah blah, and I was just like, dude, I started college early for a reason. Like, I got a full ride. Like, I'm not emotionally a 17-year-old child, And then when we were friends for 4 years, like, once I hit like 20 something, he didn't feel as weird about it. Well, when I was like 20, 21, and he was like 26 or 25 or something like that. So he was just like, okay, this is fine.
The one play that I'm having difficulty with, I have a slight obsession at the moment with, and yes, you can get the same stratification in corporate America, although even there, it's going to be a little bit less, because for the most part, if someone is miserably unhappy, they can leave the system.
Yeah.
You don't have that option. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good idea. There's we live in America, so you lose your job, you lose your health insurance. But but there is at least theoretically that option. High school, you don't show up at high school, the truant officers get called, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
But the one play that I'm having difficulty with, I have a slight obsession right now with All's Well That Ends Well. I love the show, and I have loved the show since I read it. And I'm trying to figure out how to adapt it and what to make it work. I have a couple of ideas, but unfortunately, I mean, let's just face it. The bed trick is rape.
Yeah.
Full stop. Now, in my head, I'm saying, we have people do Taming of the Shrew all the time, and a lot of the things that Petruchio do are horrible, awful, terrible things that would get him in jail.
Yeah.
Why can we tell that story and not tell All's Well That Ends Well.
I think the answer to that is because they are both terrible, horrible, horrific people that in the end somehow deserve each other.
Right. But All's Well That Ends Well, certainly, yeah. We are Helen as our heroine. It's very difficult to read that and not go, well, yeah, that's what she did. But the other issue is finding a place to set it is class-based, because if Roland, I think,
yes,
if Roland is not much higher in station than her, there is no play. There is no reason why they can't just be together. So it's not as universal for that reason. And I'm trying to figure out a way to do that show and make it palatable. So.
Well, you can totally. I mean, especially if you're doing a full-on adaptation, as in, I'm going to take here's the plot, here's the major plot points, and then just take what I like, leave out what I don't. So if you're doing that and thus giving it a rewrite of putting it in your own words, and then have some Shakespearean-esque dialogue, as like Aaron Sorkin, for instance, likes to do on occasion, then I think it's 1000% doable. And you would potentially put that in, I'm going back to Sally's comment, of putting in a corporate environment, akin to what is often done in Hallmark movies. The woman is quite often in starting movie in a low status. And the male, and usually male, well, heretofore always male, romantic love interest is in a high status, usually. Every once in a while, they flip it. And then it's like, ooh, it's just, oh my gosh, she's in high status. There's feminism in this Hallmark movie. I felt very John. I felt very John Oliver right there for a moment. Like, oh, but that is also a thing that has been played with for majority, I would argue, of our popular entertainments when romance is involved. From Shakespeare, well, pre-Shakespeare, to the Greeks and the Romans, to Shakespeare and Jane Austen. Emma and Pride and Prejudice involve one of them being here, the other one being here. And then let's sort of, and also full disclosure, with Emma and Pride and Prejudice, everybody, no one is actually here. I mean, it's like, oh, the woman is so lowly born. It's like, no, they are wealthy. It's just, dude happens to be really wealthy. It's just like, all right, let's be clear.
What level of rich are you? What level of rich? That's what we need to make sure.
Are you merely bougie, or are you
bourgeoisie?
Exactly. It's like, oh, are you lesser nobility?
And that's the other part. There exists the concept of nobility. For the American audience, nobility is automatically a bad thing. For the most part.
For the most part.
When it's very easy to make a villain out of the high status, somebody puts Esquire at the end of their name. They are not the good guy in any comedy.
No, because for the record, Esquire is one of those things that, like, you see lawyers at it all the time. But they don't have an actual right to use the word. I was looking at something like, did Esquire become a thing that's only in the legal profession? No. Any of the three of us can append that to our names if we so choose, with no repercussions, and it's fine. It just makes you sound like, oh, you can do something. It's like, you know what it means? You know what it means? You internet, look at me, internet. You know what it means? It means you scoop the poop. That's what it means. It means you scoop the poop. You are the Knight's Esquire. All right. You are Wart at the beginning of the Sword and the Stone. That's right. You're Wart. All right. There you go. That was a rant. All right.
Oh my God.
I'm glad you found the hill that you're going to die on. That's fine.
Yes.
It's important to say those things.
Just like, where's Shakespeare's Hill? Esquire.
It just sounds so pretentious because you're just kind of like, but why though? Why do you like? Some people are like, but why do you need that? Like, why? But why?
To feel good. I mean,
there is pretentious. There are people who care about status in their. I mean, that's why you can the thing about buying, like, you know, a quarter of an acre in Scotland. So just
to be a lord,
you don't even buy it, but just so you can have the title of the noble of the house, or the noble of the inn, or whatever that is. Like, it technically is a title, and you can spend $500 that, you know, would buy meals for 50 people, but you know, you can spend that money just to be able to say, no, I am this. Is it hereditary? No, but I have this, you know.
But I paid for it. I paid for this, and it is mine.
Which is a very American way of looking at it too.
It really is.
And I do want to point out that, you know, I don't have a problem with people going out and spending money on things that they technically don't need, for whatever reason that they want. They're absolutely welcome to spend their money however they see fit to make their life better. And if it will bring you joy, especially to find something that you want to buy, that is perfectly fine. I just, it's more of a character study.
Yeah.
That, again, the person who cares about that, we are going to look down on.
Yeah.
Especially as we are. And it is not necessarily the case. For a lot of Shakespeare, it's the person who cares about the title that we look down on, as opposed to the person who has the title.
Just for giggles. Just like, yeah, this is great. And then it goes into your drawer somewhere.
Yeah. So Janine Rinker says, as a resident of Colorado, a former Spanish territory, she could buy a coat of arms from Spain.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Also, for the record, May, you have a family who still live in Louisiana, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana was also a former Spanish territory, and as Florida. I'm wondering if they have the same rights.
I think because it was a French territory too, I think you can do that to an extent. It gets a little weird with the Spanish stuff, because if you go around the city, there's several places that have two different labels on it because of what time period they were in. Especially
in French Quarter. It's like here's the French one, here's the Spanish one.
Here's the Spanish one, here's the, you know, and I heard a rumor you can kind of do that. But my joke is, like, why do that when you can just buy an overpriced piece of shack in New Orleans and say that you own a piece of history, because that stuff is overpriced. But says the chick that had a house in the Marigny French Quarter. But I'm just saying, you know, you too can own a piece of historical stuff if you want to deal with the Historical Association.
My feeling is, if you're going to buy nobility, if you're going to buy nobility, I mean, which is a thing that has been done since the concept of nobility has existed. There's people just like, I just want in. I have money. And it's like, all right, you're in. And then there were also the members of the pre-existing nobility who are like, no, you can't let them in. The nouveau riche. No, that's not. No, it has to be old money. And then eventually they become old money and it's fine. But if you're gonna do it with a place that doesn't matter. Sealand.
I mean, for real though.
You can buy yourself, and I think it is like $500. You can buy a Sealand dukedom. You can buy a Sealand dukedom, and it's just like, you know what? Let's do this.
Wait, look at us on Nat 21. We have Quest Friend Island. How many lords, ladies, dukes, zers do we have that you can buy with your points, bro? Like, buy your. I have 2 now. I'm stacked. So like,
I was gifted 1, and then I randomly declared others, and I was told you can't randomly declare it. You have to do this. I'm like, do I though? how about I just randomly declare it? And then Paulo gave in live and was like, all right, fine. And then he's like, why are you? He's like, he goes, but if you do this, if we just give in to you, it doesn't matter. I go, but does any of it actually matter? This is all pretend. So, but that does, though, bring us back to adaptation and combining characters. So you sent me a message. I need to find it. Let's pick a play, or have the audience, let's have you pick a play and a genre. And what will the adaptation, we can figure out here in the few minutes remaining to us, what can the adaptation be? And so name a Shakespearean play. Any Shakespearean play. And we will figure it out. I'm sorry?
A little bit of a deep cut there.
Yeah, a little bit.
While people are coming up with the concepts, I just want to give an example here. I just thinking these things through as an idea. I came up with the idea of, if you were going to do Taming of the Shrew as an action movie, it's not just an action movie; it's a buddy cop movie.
Oh my!
Where
Murtaugh basically is Petruchia.
No, basically it's two rogue cops. There isn't that's the one thing.
There's not rogue cops.
It's not the straight-laced rogue. So I guess it's more like Hobbs and Shaw. But like it's two
that's a great movie.
Rogue police officers who no one else will be their partner. And so they get partnered up just to shut them up. So which makes Baptista into Chief Baptista. And I actually had a thought that Bianca is like the mayor's daughter. So, that's where you're running into that. And the whole thing is, as much as Kate hates Bianca, she's the victim that is, going to be arrested, and they have to stop the conspiracy to arrest her and have her, taken away, etc. And that's where you get, so the only two people who can save Bianca are Petruchio and Kate, which would Officer Peter and Officer Kate, and it's like,
oh my gosh,
wow, that works better than it has any right to, doesn't it? So that's how
oh my god, I love this so much. That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Are you writing this out?
I'm at a place right now where writing is actually a little difficult for me. All I find myself wanting to do is write TV, and when I do get the ability to write, I'm focusing right now on the scripts for Seat of Our Players podcast.
You turn out so many of them, by the way. You are prolific. You are prolific with this. So King Lear is being suggested.
I will say there are probably going to be a couple, like if someone mentions Pericles, I'm out. I don't know the show.
I will pull up Spark Notes and be like, all right, cool. What's all right, cool. Let's do.
And I've done that for ones that I'm not terribly familiar with.
I did that too with when I originally started doing Titus Andronicus, for kids. I had very little familiarity with Titus, other than this is the show where people get baked into a pie. That was basically what I knew, and I knew that from the complete works of William Shakespeare Abridged. Great show, we've both done it. And my entire familiarity with it was that joke about like, let's do a Julia Child cooking show of this. Yeah. And it's like, okay. I went and read, and I started reading the play. I'm like, I can't do this. I don't have time. And then, and it wasn't like due to the quality of it. It's actually really darkly funny.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Yeah. I give you darkly funny.
Darkly funny. I mean, like, I don't want to say this is high art. I will say darkly funny. So while I was creating, I started doing the joke. I would talk about it all the time. at my shows. I go, oh, at some point, come see my next show. Julie Titus Andronicus, for kids, just to get a laugh. Just start seeing how the concept plays. People are like, oh, all right, great. I said, yeah, it's a cult classic. We do midnight showings, just like, people end up throwing limbs at the stage. It's fine. Limbs and pies. It's great.
Sounds like Rocky Horror, but
exactly.
Like
treat it in the Shakespearean zone. Treat it like Rocky Horror Show. And
with the Mad Mechanicals, Julius Caesar Salad was the show that we
oh my
had.
God, stop.
We were talking about having written for years. One day on a van ride down to Virginia, we actually kind of beat out everything. We were so tired that we literally forgot everything, but we were always talking about it for years and years after that. And finally, that was the last show that we ever did. And it just became a whole bunch of food puns because Thomas Snout was hungry. That was the he was hungry. He was on a diet. We were making jokes about it.
On that, what I do if I usually do it now. If we're talking and we're beating things out, like off-screen wife and I in the car or something, I will set the voice. I will turn the voice memo on this to record. It's just like set it to record, go. And so there is one conversation where it's 3 hours of us largely giggling. Like just tired driving, giggling, going hee, and talking about coffee. We get into an argument over who was in a movie, but like the conversation started with, "Oh, that would be a fun idea." Oh wait, let me hit the record. Say that again. That'd be a fun idea, and then hee, and then arguing over they were in that movie. No, they weren't. No, just look it up. I'm not gonna look it up. Look it up. No, I'm not gonna look it up. And then there's like 6 good minutes in this, and I had to listen to this whole thing. There's 6 good minutes of, oh, we would do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. And that's how a lot of my writing process will work. We're sitting around banding, and I just hit record, and then go back and listen, take half hour, 3 hours to go back and listen. Like, all right, no, that's just funny. I can never share that with anybody. All right. What are we even laughing at? I have no idea.
Yep.
And then
that's something we can do now. Back when Julius Caesar Salad existed, that technology was not actually part of the option widespread.
Yeah.
So do we have anything other than King Lear, or
just King Lear?
I mean, I had a funny thought for another one, but
Well, go ahead, man. Share it.
Yeah.
I was like, The Tempest. How would you do The Tempest? That'd be fun.
I personally treat The Tempest as Gilligan's Island.
True. You're right. You're right.
So, all right, if we stick with King Lear, the next thing we need is the genre.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we can do The Tempest too. I am agnostic here. So whichever option y'all want to do.
I would not want to do Tempest just because I have my own silly thought in my head of what I always do. Oh, all right.
Okay.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
King Lear as Carmen Sandiego. Okay.
Right.
So
are we treating it as like the video game, like or the old game show where you have the chief?
I think the key right now is not to, when you're starting out with something like this, you don't want to rule out which option. So I would say any version of Carmen Sandiego up to and including the current Netflix.
All right, which I have not seen, but I have a suggestion for who is in the fedora.
Okay.
Oh.
That
Cordelia.
makes sense.
Cordelia as the fool in the fedora.
Oh, all right. So you're gonna get rid of the fool.
No. Fool and Cordelia are the same person.
Right. That's what I meant by get rid of. That when you combine characters in my head, like you're exiting one and just making it into one. Well, yeah. We're saying the same thing. We're having a very loud agreement.
A very loud agreement. I'm agreeing with you in an original way. All right. So so real quick, is the fool not the same person in your head as Cordelia?
No. They're
The Fool has always, since high school, the Fool has been the same person as Cordelia in my head.
I'm not.
And
saying
I had a
wrong.
no. Yeah,
I
had a. We had a fight in my 12th grade English class about it was honors English. There were 8 of us in the room, and people started yelling at each other over that particular point because it was almost half and half. Like half of us going, "Yeah, the Fool is Cordelia," and the other half going, "No, it's an entirely separate person." And this very minor concept, very minor. And it's like, hey, it really kind of adds into the Fool's trajectory and Cordelia. If they are, and if not, it doesn't hurt anything. And the English teacher, she's just sitting behind her desk, laughing the entire time as we are getting nearly violent. Like, no! And it was 4 boys, 4 girls, and we're just yelling at each other. Just like, ah! And it was insane.
Now, the nice thing about King Lear and Carmen Sandiego as a combination is that the concept of dividing the kingdom in 3 means that the map, which is a necessary part of anything dealing with Carmen Sandiego, is there. It's right there. So we're going to divide the kingdom in 3. So at this point, the King Lear, in his own way, is kind of the chief. Because what's happening is Cordelia is stealing. The whole thing is derived so that at the end, Cordelia can steal the whole map. That's what we're telling you.
I love it.
So she's got to. It becomes less of the classic Carmen Sandiego, I'm going to take this, and more of Carmen Sandiego, the manipulator, who moves everyone just so that they are doing the wrong thing so that they lose what they have.
I like this. Yeah. And I would then cast the Duke of York as, I guess, if Lear is chief, then I would have Duke of York be almost like the under chief, like the head gumshoe.
Oh,
because Duke of York is trying to figure things out. And then you would have, so how does Edmund the Bastard figure in?
That is probably one of Cordelia Sandiego. I like that name. That's one of Cordelia's henchmen.
High 72, low 72, not a cloud in the sky.
There you go.
Sorry, no. But yeah, it's one of those colorful henchmen. Sorry, I didn't get that reference at all. Sorry. But yeah. So yeah, it's one of the henchmen that is basically being set up to go and steal this for yourself. You know, this would be nice for you to have. You've earned this. Go get this. Hey, he's gonna go get this, so you should deal with that. You know, and Lear at this point, you keep the idea that the whole thing is happening because he's retiring.
Yeah.
So the chief is leaving his place, and it's almost sort of the whoever can catch Carmen Sandiego. Oh, is this the old trope of the kind of like Batgirl and Barbara Gordon?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes, it is. Or even in Spider-Man, J. Jonah Jameson, whoever gets me a photo of Spider-Man, will get the job.
Yes.
And so he's like, I've got this.
So yeah. It's perfect, but for the time that we have, I think we have a path that this route can take very quickly.
That could be fun. I mean,
that would be hysterical. I would watch that. That'd be great.
I mean, weirder versions have been done with King Lear specifically. Like King Lear is rife for let's go weird. For instance, the TNT production starring Patrick Stewart, The King of Texas.
Okay.
It is not good. People violently disagree with me on this, to the point where someone yelled at me.
Oh, no.
Like, they very yelled at me. It's fantastic! I'm like, all right, fine.
There are people who do not believe that Patrick Stewart can do anything bad.
And that was basically it. And it's just like, I'm like, yes, he can. Look at season 1 and 2 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Hello. Look at the episode Masks.
Yes.
I mean,
when
it's.
I liked hearing him talk about doing his Othello, where he played Othello and the rest of the cast was African American.
Robert Guillaume as Iago.
Yeah, I loved hearing him talk about it later and just going, yeah, that didn't work. There's way too many references in the language to dark and light that make no sense if you do it this way, and it doesn't work. But it was good. I'm glad I did it, and that's kind of why I like Sir Patrick more than anything else, is that he knows who he is. He's a guy. He's an actor, and he's good at it. And I have I have not seen him in anything I absolutely hate, but he understands that in every actor's life, a crappy show will come.
And you will. That is your rite of passage. You will take that one crappy script.
And also just like, oh, this is high concept. Let's do this. Let's flip it. Will it work? We don't know. All right, let's try. I mean, and that's the mark of I'm going to say good artists. Of will it work? Don't know, but I'm not going to let that stop me. If I think it's worth a shot. Because it's like, oh, this could work. It might not work. Either way, people are going to remember it, and you go do it. Like if you had done to, let's say, Patrick Stewart and Robert Guillaume's Othello and Iago, if you had done that as a completely modern adaptation, maybe, and then and for the sake of argument, let's set it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Drop Patrick Stewart into the middle of Wakanda, and so he's the only one. So he's Major Ross. He's Major Ross.
Yeah, Agent Ross. Yeah.
He's Agent Ross there, and Iago is not T'Challa. T'Challa's over here being king and Black Panther. I mean, but somebody else. I mean, he's Iago is Killmonger. All right. And for whatever reason, Ross and Killmonger are best of friends. You do it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but all of the beats are Othello. It's like you don't need any dialogue from it. Just here's the beats. You could do that, and that would work better because it's like you don't, as you said, you don't have the textual statements of light versus dark, and we're playing on good versus evil, as represented with skin color, and then going against expectations. It's like you don't have any of that. It's just, you treat it as like Siri calls every white person colonizer, and it's just like she yells at Martin Freeman, hey colonizer, what are you touching? You do it that way, and it's just like, so he has a different prejudice to overcome, and then of course still end it tragically, or being Marvel, maybe not. I don't know.
And you can. This might not be the best thing for me to be saying, but the amount that race has to do with Othello is negotiable.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the main plot is that man is being manipulated into thinking that his wife is cheating on him because other guy doesn't like him. Yep. Whether what the basis of that is, there could be lots of it. So I've
basically race is almost a red herring in that show, I would say.
It can be. I've seen it done where race was the whole reason behind it, and that's just as valid. Yeah. And you can do as anything. The thing about Shakespeare that I think we just need to remember all the time is that it is absolutely fluid.
It's very fungible.
Yeah. It may not be universal because there are certain things that do not work anymore. But in all of the plays, there is an element of universality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you're adapting it, keep that part. Throw out the bed trick.
Throw out the stuff that doesn't work anymore. It's fine. Well, our guest for today on this very long episode, but hey, it's cool. It's been an amazing conversation. Is the lovely, the talented, the brilliant Dan Wentzel. He is an author. His Shakespearean-esque piece is Six Lovers in Florence. Nope. There it is.
There you
His
go.
Shakespearean piece is Six Lovers in Florence. You can get that on Amazon, but also you can get other things on Amazon. I don't have banners for them, but he's going to hold them up. You can get the Sidekick Academy series. You can fantastic stuff. I have the first two. You can get Escape from the Past, which I have as a Kindle book. You can get I can't read it. Escape from the Past Part 2, A Small Town. Yes.
I've started Escape from the Hype, which will be book 3.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Escape from a Small Town. I haven't read Escape from a Small Town yet. But you can subscribe to the Seat of Our Pants Players podcast, Soup, podomatic.com/podcast/soup, or wherever you listen to
you get podcasts. Anywhere.
I listen to them. I personally listen to them on iTunes. I'm sorry, Apple Podcasts, but also start listening to the first episodes of Detective Danger and the Amazon at this link right here, which I will also throw into the comments in just a moment. So go do the things. Support an independent author who is making fantastic art. My co-host, of course, is the amazing, the talented, the brilliant, the effervescent May Hammer. You can follow her on all the things: facebook.com/may.hammer, Instagram, the Mayhammer, Twitter, the Mayhammer, mayhammer.com. And if you want to show her some fiscal love, you can do so. Venmo at the Mayhammer, Cash App, $, the Mayhammer, PayPal, may.hammer at gmail.com, or buy her a cup of coffee at coffee.com/the Mayhammer. That's ko-fi.com/the Mayhammer. And I'm your friendly neighborhood Shakespeare. And friends, if you enjoyed the show half as much as I enjoyed hosting it today, then I've enjoyed it twice as much as you do, and that's called maths. And that's whatever you feel the show is worth: a 1, a 5, a 10. For a 50, I will come and talk about Shakespearean adaptations with other Marvel Cinematic Universe people in your front garden. I will do that. Throw it into my hat. Buy me a cup of coffee at coffee.com/Shakespeare. That's ko-fi.com/Shakespeare. Or become a Patreon of the arts at patreon.com/Shakespeare. Tiers start at $3, go all the way up to $30. And right now, because money is still quite tight for so many of us and will be for the foreseeable future for a bit, all the tiers get the exact same rewards, which include a digital copy of my comic book, Julius Caesar, Beware the Ides of March the Penguins, the digital album, Are You There, God? It's Me, Shakespeare, and scripts that I write for the social distancing players, which are mostly adaptations of my stage shows at Renaissance fairs. And follow me on all the things: facebook.com/Shakespeare Approves, Instagram, Shakespeare Approves. That's also the TikTok handle, because I do space shanties on TikTok about Captain Picard. Twitter at Shakes Approves, and then YouTube, Shakespeare Approves. But friends, that's basically it for today. Thank you to our guest today, Mr. Dan Wentzel, Esquire. My co-host, Ms. May Hammer, Esquire. And I am your friendly neighborhood Shakespeare, Esquire, Lord Metatron of Quest Friend Island. And also, I'm going to get a dukedom of Sealand because I'm a frivolous person. But until next time, I love you, you love me. There is mutual glorious affection. Friends, we will see you soon. And until next time, just stay classy, be kind to each other, and always remember, throw out the parts you don't like. Bye-bye.